I'm going to talk to you about my experience as a poet and how the idea of creating and spreading has helped me and others create, heal, shape, and reflect on the ordinary things that surround us. First are all the people with whom we share our lives. What we say is important because those words will resound in the chamber of our memory to help us or damage our development. I remember my father telling me, to be courteous will not take away manhood. Lo cortés no quita lo valiente. I have applied this through my life by being considerate of others, especially when I write my poems, putting the best words in their best order. I believe in the power of words, for words are like the clothes we wear them on our tongues. The magic of slowing down to look at the world around us makes us pay attention to what has always been there. But when we are in a hurry, we don't always notice. When the idea manifests, creativity begins by associating thoughts and experiences unique to our individual lives. Who would think that that simple object like a dandelion growing on a grassy meadow, near a ditch, or in our yards would evoke so many metaphors by associating the fuzzies, the seeds, with words? The air as the breath that carries those words, the close or distant fields where the fuzzies may land, like the words landing in the ears of those who listen. W.B. Yeats said, quote, "The idea for a poem comes in moments of personal excitement. I sometimes jot down a few prose lines in a notebook, leaving them purposely vague. Then begins the process of gradually giving the poem rhythmical form. Rhythm produces a faint hypnosis." End quote. The mystery of the result of such action is fantastic. Not knowing who will receive the poem and the impact those words will have on others. I discovered that poetry contains life, joy, pleasure, magic, mystery. Philip Larkin said that we must be open to mystery. If we are open to it, mystery will come. There are also sad poems filled with a plethora of emotions containing new ways to see the world. Also language, culture, always evoking assurance within us that the words we use are relevant. In my book, there are several poems that have inspired others to act, to create, to move, to continue sharing, becoming proud and unafraid of saying what they must in order to break stereotypes, to get out of the established pattern of subjugation based on origin, skin color, and language. The seeds Martin Espada planted in my ear came from one of his readings. He read a poem titled "The King of Books." From his book, Rebellion is the Circle of a Lover's Hand, where he talks about the value of books, bootlegging illicit words, plucking at pages like a bearded subversive, and how the words in the books liberate not only the mind, but the spirit. Inspiration also came from his personal dedication to me. Para Raul, compañero poeta en la lucha, October 24th, 2009. These seeds have germinated, sprouting out of the fertile soil of my creative reality, writing poems for the people, the migrant workers, farm workers, etc. Here's an excerpt from the foreword on his book, Rebellion is the Circle of a Lover's Hands. His commitment to clarity and exactness illuminates reality. It is the expansiveness of our feelings that are the fuel of evolution. As long as we can feel, we will be alive. When we cannot feel, our intellectual process cannot create, since it is merely rationalized feeling. I have a daughter with whom I have learned many things, among them the love for sharing and creating new things together. Every now and then we sit down to write new poems. The poem titled Dandelion came from one of those encounters. I kept seeing dandelions everywhere. On a walk with her, she pulled one of those dandelions off the ground and blew the fuzzies to watch them fly with the air exhaled within her lungs. That image got stuck in my mind. I decided to do something with it. I thought, what if those fuzzies were words dispersed, flying away from the poem, stopping to rest, entering someone's ear, bringing change, perhaps healing an old wound or evoking an old memory? The following morning, in the silence of the early dawn, I began to write what I remembered from the night my daughter and I sat down to write those words. The idea began to shape up by putting the images into words. That luscious spring, the daffodils and the tulips were in bloom, completely soaked in rain. These living plants also close up when the sun disappears. In the western sky, just like we close down at night. As mentioned on the foreword I read, I wanted to be clear and exact, conveying the moments lived. Once inside the house, we played with words, exploring possible combinations. Many of them were funny, making strange sounds. Yes, we did fall to our toes after acting up the words and exploring the what-ifs. Before the book got published, I had people request individual copies of this poem when I read it at open mics. I guess I didn't realize at the time the message in the poem. The tenderness in acting like a child without inhibitions or worries about the adult I'm supposed to be. I know when to be prim and proper and when to be an actor, a bad comedian at best, because I still have an inner child that likes to goof around and be silly. Delightedly, I gave away copies of the poem to folks who asked and expressed their gratitude for the words they heard. I remember a mom who attended the Lead Fuse workshops up in Titan 4 years ago. I read the poem at the open mic session. She approached the stage with tears in her eyes. She thanked me and asked if I would give her my copy. I did, with extreme pleasure. I guess that night I planted a seed with my breath. Tonight, I would like to share those words with all of you. I will watch them float into your ears, carried by my breath, and may your breath will propagate the words like fuzzies in the breeze. Dandelion. My daughter and I wrote a poem last night. We picked ideas and objects to write about. We mixed them up in a salad bowl, carefully tossed. We picked funny words to make happy sounds. We added, repeated, deleted. We laughed and fell to our toes, pretended to be dandelions, waiting for the wind to shake us up. We acted like daffodils and tulips soaked in rain. We opened ourselves in the morning and closed our petals when the sun ran away. We agreed that our poem should be like a dandelion, so when shared with others, the words will flow to the ears of those who listen, carried by our breath, like the dandelion fuzzies in the breeze. And so, my daughter and I wrote a poem last night. Thank you.